A friend of mine was gang raped by ladies. I can be notorious too. Because of the kind of person I am, when there's an argument, I can be stubborn. We had a disagreement and my wife locked the door,
Oh my God.
threw the key out, through the window. I take my clothes and walk out.
Hello viewers from all around the world. We're on your screen again, the open table as always, with a very exceptionally beautiful and exciting episode. There is something that we have today that you've never seen before. So stay on that dial, don't go anywhere, and you will see what we have for you. And as always, I'm not by myself. I have my sisters with me and I have with me
Kiki.
And we have our first ever male guest on the show. Now, I know if I try to do the introduction, I will not do him honors. So I'm going to pass it on to this handsome, tall drink of hot, dark chocolate to introduce himself. Over to you, sir.
My head is one. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tolu Shofekun, popularly known as Eshawaba. I'm an MC, host, an hype man, whatever you can think of event, Eshawaba is your person.
I told you guys that I would not do it as well as he's doing it, so you're welcome to it.
Thank you very much.
So, viewers, we're going to be asking him a myriad of questions because there's so many things we want to hear from a male perspective. But before I go into that, I want to ask him, because we're all here in Canada, reaching you from Saskatoon. So, rep Saskatoon.
Saskatoon.
So, I'm going to ask him a bit about his journey, how he came here in Canada, and then other questions as we go along. So, stay on that. The very first question I'm going to ask you, sir, is why the decision to leave your home country and come to this beautiful country we call Canada?
We moved from Nigeria. Nigeria is my own country. Moved from Nigeria sometimes in February. I can't remember the actual day, 2023. But it was a decision that wasn't easy to take because I was an MC in Nigeria, been doing this now for over a decade. And I had an hotel, like my personal business that I was doing in Nigeria, somewhere around Difako Bagada. And then this decision was born out of my family, my wife's family. Because she has siblings here, about 7 of them. So yeah, so it was a discussion that took about 2 hours. The brothers trying to talk to me, asking me questions, and then we just thought of it that, you know what, let's go see what it looks like. Let's go and try. I've always been a Nigerian from by heart, by everything, by soul. I thought everything was going to be, of course, better, and there won't be any need to move. But I'm grateful I took that decision because it actually showed me another side of life. It actually showed me that the 50 kobo we're picking in Nigeria is not the whole thing that it is about life. And we took that decision in 2022. A decision that at first I was not even supporting because I still didn't see a future in it. But then, of course, we are here since 2023, less than 3 years, and God has been faithful.
That's a very, very interesting story. And I know that the processes and everything that went into it. So kudos to your wife.
Yes. And I must say this, she did the exam.
Oh my God.
Because while she was writing the West exam, I was writing my master's. So she did the exam. She did everything. I hope she will not hear me, but I was not 100% when she started. But when I saw the light in everything she was doing, I had no choice than to just.
And I must add that the Nigerian community here, we are richer because you're here. Because I've seen you MC events. And I didn't even know you were doing that back in Nigeria because I saw the finesse with which you did it. And I'm like, this guy's good. So I now have a backstory to that. So kudos. Obiki, I know you have something to ask him.
Okay. Before we, let me say my first question would be, as like Izo said, I've seen you anchor events, the way you take control of events. The events I've seen you anchored or probably watched you do events for Nigerians, like wedding, birthday. Have you had opportunity to anchor events for people who are non-Nigerians? Like, are you able to?
Yeah, so thank you for that great question. A lot of people think that being a Nigerian, we are restricted to events. We don't want to explore. I've been opportunity to anchor Jamaican weddings, Canadian weddings, in the US anchoring a Rwandan wedding. So I do anything events. So as long as there's an audience that needs to be entertained, as long as there's a memory that needs to be created, I'm ready to go. Because the reason is because most Nigerian weddings, we want to bring it home. So we'll speak our native language and people feel like, oh, maybe that's all about. No, the English is top notch. So we try as much as possible to carry everybody along. As long as we want to create a lasting memory, we're good to go.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question now. I think you've been in Canada for about 2+ years.
Yeah,
now.
going to 3 now.
Right. So when you first came, what was the culture shock that you experienced the moment you got off the aircraft and started mingling with the people?
Yeah.
And what are the trends that you saw that you're like, okay, this is different from where I'm coming from?
Yeah, so first thing, it was not just the culture shock. I had the weather shock. So I came in February. And
February?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, I came in February. And the first day we landed in YXC, it was -35.
Oh, jeez.
So we came in with our Nigerian-made winter jackets, which did not survive that weather at all. So we're there, and of course, you know, the people that we met actually made it easy. We met some people at the airport, some Canadians who have been here for a long time. They were so kind, and that is something that is kind of rare where I came from. People are nice in Nigeria too; they are good people, but not as much as you would see when you get to Canada. Everybody wants to help you. Everybody's willing to go out of their way to say, "Would you mind sitting here?" I know someone jokingly said to me at the airport that I can tell this is your first time in Canada, because you know you could see it really on my face that no, I feel like I made a big mistake, but of course it's not a mistake. We're here, so people are kind, and the people want to. Of course, they are not trying to rip you off. They want to help you genuinely. That's who they are. And another thing I've noticed, or that I saw when I came newly, is that people have their own way of life, and they believe that so long as they are moral, that's all that matters. Well, from where we come from, we know that there are a lot of things that needs to go into you as a human being, from home training, from community raising a child, a lot of things. But right here, it's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean there are no good people here. Everyone here is kind. Everyone wants to help you. Everyone wants to go out of their way to make sure you're good.
Right, that's good. That's good. And so that's the culture shock. What trends did you see here that you said, "Oh, okay, this is different"? And when you saw them, did you want to imbibe it, or you were like, "No, this is not for me"? What is kind of fueling that is like we're coming up to another big celebration, which is Halloween and all that. So, I see you laughing. So I would like to know what's behind that smile.
Okay, so that would be the major one I'll talk about, Halloween. For me, it's for lack of words, it was a shock, because that my first Halloween was the first day I joined the company, and the company paid so much attention to Halloween. Everywhere was decorated, and then I asked one of my colleagues, "What are we celebrating?" And he said, "Well, we're just celebrating Halloween." And I'm asking, "So what exactly is Halloween?" And you know, the way they celebrate all of these things was a shock to somebody like me, coming from a typical Nigerian environment where you're either a Christian, you're a Muslim, you either go to church or you go to mosque. Right, so all of those things coming here, well, we had to be a part of it because the company is a part of it. Yeah. But for me, I wouldn't have done that if I was in Nigeria. Yeah. Obviously, we wouldn't have done that. Another thing for me is the love for pets and the love for animals in this part of the world. I was joking with a friend and I said that it is woman, animal, men, and others, because people here would go out of their way to take care of their animals. Yeah. In Nigeria, whether dog shop, whether dog shop. But of course, on a larger scale, here it is animals are really well taken care of, which is a good thing, because I believe that here the people see value in their pets, they see value in their animals, and it's different from where I came from.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to add that, so we also came in February. So when you said you came in February, I felt the cringe because I knew what we went through. But really, one thing that you also said that was very true is the Canadians, they are always willing to help, because they know that you're new into this country and it's a lot to take on all of that. And we also experienced that too. I personally, on the pet thing, I never liked dogs because I had a terrible experience as a child growing up. I got chased by 3 dogs. That's a story for another day. Watch out for that story, it's very true. But when I came here and I saw the way they relate with their pet, I'm not going to get a pet, that's for sure. But if I am in the park and somebody is with the dog, I don't mind petting the dog. I get into conversations with dog moms and everything. And that's because of the way they grew up. They groom their own dogs. So
I just need to add this. I don't eat dogs. I have a dog in Nigeria. I have a Caucasian, a big dog for that matter. I couldn't bring the dog because my wife does not like dogs. So I had to leave it. But I had a dog. But then I'm just saying the way they pay attention to their dogs here is something we don't have in Nigeria.
That's true.
I think mostly we breed dogs to animals, like, but dogs more for security. Yeah, we have breed dogs, but it's not like bringing them inside and petting them the way we do here. Okay, now to my question. So Esho Baba is a known man, like everyone. Esho Baba left and right
big.
to wear a man that wears many caps. And being a family man, a career man, if I would, say, because you talked about your first job and things like that, and you also have a personal business, which I know would mostly take you away from home on weekends, like parties happen on weekends. So how do you juggle that, like making sure it doesn't affect home? Yeah.
So first thing I would say, shout out to my wife. She's been good, and for me it's just setting priorities. So it will surprise you that there's some events I don't take. There's some events I turn down, especially when I notice that the home is about to lack attention.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some event I'm not everywhere. And like my mentor told me, I don't know if I'm permitted to mention his name, Spirit of Sako. Sako said, a good event is because the MC is good. One. Secondly, not every event is your event.
Yeah.
So you don't want to stay in people's face every day, every time without a new content. So it will surprise you. Some of my events I write scripts as the MC. Yes, I do. I try as much as possible not to repeat games that I play in the past events. And all of these things will take time. But at the same time, what I try to do is I work Monday to Friday. And I've been so lucky in Canada. The recent job I have right now is from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Awesome.
So Monday to Friday strictly. There are times they call for weekend jobs and sometimes we have to do it. But my events mostly are Saturdays and Sundays. So if I have events that are not Saturday, Sunday, then I talk to my manager and can I take time off? Can I do that? But it has not been a smooth ride. Of course, sometimes you have to bend. Sometimes you have to turn some event down even though you need the money because money is important. But then if the family needs you, you have to be out.
Do you know why I asked that question is because of the increase in divorce rate. You hear stories left and right. Couples couples that still create time for each other. You hear stories, and I'm not 100% sure. Like the rate of divorce, would I say in the Western world is increasing than what we have back home? Like maybe women or men, like couples tend to tolerate each other better than what they do here. So that's why I asked, like, oh, you wearing different caps? Like, how are you able to manage?
We are notorious on this open table for shaking the table.
Let's break the table.
So that's why. So we're going to shake the table.
Let's break it.
We want to hear your views. And now, viewers are viewers. Now, all of these are views.
Yeah.
We are not experts. I'm not a
course.
relationship coach. And so, but we want to hear, like, we've put out a lot of episodes and you can see some of them right here. So we want to hear your views. Now, she mentioned about divorce. Now, people say that a lot of couples come from their home country and come here, and then the woman no longer wants to submit to the man. The man sees other things outside and is drawn away. What's your view? Is it truly that immigration has increased the rate of review, by your view?
I would say two things. First, before you decide to move, know who your partner is. We cannot overestimate the power of social media and all of that, but at the same time, who are you getting married to? I've been lucky, and I say this every time, I've been lucky to have a woman who wants to contribute to the family. There's somebody who wants to do something, wants something to be named, like, this is me playing my part.
Right.
Yes, she works from home some days, 3 times in a week, and 2 times in a week she goes to work. But even when she's at work, she puts in her time, she puts in an energy, always make sure things work. However, I can be notorious too. I can be stubborn. But the truth is, so let me create this. Let me give an example. When we first got married, because of the kind of person I am, when there's an argument, I try to take my clothes and walk out, just to avoid confrontation. Because when you confront, I believe that confrontation sometimes, if it's not well managed, will become a fight. Sometimes it will lead to arguments. And so I always try to run away, shy away from that discussion. So one day, we had a disagreement and my wife locked the door, threw the key out, through the window. I was like, we have to talk about this. And at first it wasn't funny because I was angry, literally. But then because of that act, we sat down, even though we couldn't hear ourselves because one was yelling and one was talking. But that singular act just shows that communication in marriage can never be emphasized. People in Nigeria, for me as a person in Nigeria, I don't wash clothes. My wife does everything. I can cook, but I choose sometimes not to cook. I only cook when I have offended my wife. And I want to make up for it. And that the only food I know how to cook very well, my specialty is jollof rice.
Good.
So that's when you see me boiling rice and doing that. But then when we got here, I'm the chief laundry of my family. I can, like, ironing clothes is not a problem. I'm the only son of my parents. So my mom does most of these things for us. And shout out to my mom if you're watching this. She does most of this. And as the only son, I have an elder sister, I have a junior sister. those are my go-to person if I don't want to do anything. So getting married to the first daughter, who has been doing all of these things from her home, and we're now trying to find a balance. It wasn't easy. And then when it comes to divorce, I know that one of the reason is because couples have stopped talking to each other. It's not that they don't talk, not like they don't greet each other, but like the real talk, the communication. When things go south, do you actually sit down to say, I don't like what you did on this day, and find a way to settle and not pile those things up? Because I believe it is words that are not spoken that are piled up that eventually becomes divorce.
Right.
Because then the other partner is saying, I can't take this anymore. You did this in 2021. You did this in this year. And then because you did not discuss it and find a way to forgive each other, it has become a power that you cannot throw away. And that's how divorce comes.
That's so true. That's so true. And I want to add on the top of that. There was an episode we talked about domestic abuse. So again, kudos to you guys and kudos to my sister for throwing away the key. Where did they go? The other time, where did they go? So I love women that are strong. I don't struggle with them. Kudos to her. Yeah. But again, we find examples, especially in this our community, where it degenerates and then the man is now receiving abuse. Yeah. So do you think there's domestic abuse in men? I think that's the first question. And if you say yes, there is, that men suffer domestic abuse, do you think that the abuse they suffer is at the same level with women? Or because most people say men don't speak, whereas a woman is quick to say, oh, the man slapped me or whatever. What's your view? So that's a very tricky question. But I'll say it this way. So based on statistics, they say men has the highest rate of suicide because of whatever they pile up. They don't speak, they don't do this, and they don't do that. Well, statistically, that is correct. Also, I can say that men, well, they also suffer abuse. I've not been there probably because of my height. It's giving me, you understand? And I have a thick voice, so you cannot. But then, of course, I know I attended an only boys school, baby college, and we've seen things happen. Right. We've seen, even in the university back in, I think it was 2009, a friend of mine was gang raped by ladies. Ooh. Yes, because he's a fine boy and he refused to yield to one of them. A lot of things happen. But however, out of all of this, I don't think that there's a ratio to who is more affected. What I would just say is that domestic violence is not the way. Domestic violence would always come back toward the family. Domestic violence is, sometimes we argue, sometimes we talk, but the moment we start raising hands, I was not trained that way. My dad, born in an Anglican church, still a Christian for life, a born-again Christian for that matter. We follow strict biblical example. I have not seen it before in the Bible, and if the Bible is your guide, it shouldn't happen. Nevertheless, it does happen. We've heard stories, we've seen things amongst even Christian brothers and Christian sisters, but it's not the best way to go in correction. When you correct, when you talk, sometimes people say don't divorce, even Bible is against it, but I would say withdrawal sometimes saves yourself from being domestically violated. Because when you withdraw and keep your thoughts and read the room, know that this person is pissed, doesn't want to hear me now, I keep quiet, and then I talk later when it's more relaxed. I think that we will be able to break that gene of domestic violence. And communication is just, for me, communication is just it. Communicate, we cannot over-communicate, communicate and communicate. But for men that are suffering domestic violence, please speak up. For women that are suffering domestic violence, please speak up so that it will not lead to death. We've seen a lot that led to death, and we feel that if you have spoken up early, maybe we would have salvaged. So you say for the men, because the women, they are used to speaking up. When you say the men should speak up, how do you want them to speak up? Should they meet their fellow guy? Do guys even have those kind of conversations? Yes. Because we get the impression that guys don't share amongst themselves. Okay. Yeah, well, the men are somehow reserved when it comes to issues like this. They prefer not to say anything. Because how will I tell my friend that my wife used to beat me or my wife slapped me? It doesn't add up, kind of. But then when we get to meet with our friend, the ones we call brothers, we say things. I have a friend in Kent, in the UK. I tell him stuff. He's my go-to guy. He's my childhood friend. He was my best man. In fact, when we were planning a wedding and the devil wanted to try us and a lot of disagreement, this guy stood in that gap. So who are your friends? What clique do you keep? Who are those guys that you call your circle? Those are the kind of people that would determine whether you're going to talk or not. If your circle is someone or people in your circle, they just all about sit out, no real life talk, then you might be ashamed to speak up. But if your guys are guys that you talk together, pray together, do things together,
And you notice I keep going back to church, pray, church. That's because I believe so much in marriage. I believe that God actually instituted marriage for our sake. And so when things are going wrong in the marriage, I always say, go back to God.
Yeah.
And that's why you always say, I make reference to that. Go back to God. Many of us got married. Myself, I got married because I got instructions. Many of us didn't get this. And not everybody will get instruction. But when the marriage is now heading south, there should be somebody your wife or your husband listens to, who you can report to, and they can talk to that person. I don't think that is third party. That is not third party. Awesome. My wife has a mentor. I have a mentor. If anything goes wrong, I go to the mentor and say, your baby is misbehaving.
I have a steamy question, but before I go into my steamy question, let's stay on the surface level. Kiki, you have something to ask.
So, like you said, talking about mentor, so that means I won't say you agree to discussing with families, like if there are issues, maybe, or what's your take on that?
I don't think discussing with family is the best option.
Okay.
Because by virtue of being your family, they tend to take sides. Mm-hmm. If you report me to my mom, as long as she wants to say the truth, there's still a defensive part that will still say, this is my child. Right. However, when you're marrying someone, that partner, as somebody you would know that this person is a mentor to my wife. Mm-hmm. Like for me, if anything goes wrong, I know who I can call, who is not necessarily a family member.
Okay.
Because if it's a family member, of course, sometimes they tend to be biased. Mm-hmm. But if it's not a family member, but somebody your partner holds in high esteem, somebody your partner talks to, whether in church, whether in the social life, whether at work, somebody that you know that there's this respect that your partner has for that person. You talk to that person and they step in as a neutral person. Yeah. They are not coming to take side, even though they know your friend or your partner. They are stepping in as a neutral person to de-escalate and try and solve the situation.
Well,
my Stevie question.
Okay. Hey, Jesus.
Get ready. So,
okay.
We had this episode where we talked about the effect of relocation on sex. I told you it was going to be Stevie.
Okay.
So, how do you keep the flame alive in your home? Or let me not make it too personal. How do you think that couples, especially in this side of the world, can keep the other room, active and alive in light of the fact that work schedule, life generally, the way it plays out here, can really cause a rift between the couple? What are your views?
I believe that there's nothing we cannot achieve together if we're intentional about those things. Now, I'm going to be a little bit shy because how old am I in this married thing? Just how many years? But then, it is intentionality that would carry you even in the other room. You've gone to work, your wife has gone to work, but there's always a sexual need that needs to be met. If that need is not met, a lot of action and reaction will flow out of it. A lot of squeezing of the face, a lot of
nagging,
a lot of nagging. Because, and sometimes when whether the wife or the husband nags, it is not always because she's angry. It is because a part of her needs has not been met, which is the question according to our host.
Yes.
So for me, I would say that sometimes I mentioned sometimes while we're talking that there are some events I don't attend.
Okay, yeah.
One of the reasons why I don't attend such events, and I have to turn them down mostly, is because there's a need that needs to be met in the home. It might not necessarily be sex. Yeah. It might just be that your wife wants to enjoy your company. It might just, like in my house, every Friday is movie night. Even if you have seen the movie before, we'll see it again. Mm-hmm. Even if there's no new movie, we'll see it again. Mm-hmm. That one-on-one companion sitting in the parlor under the duvet, anything can happen from there. Amen. Amen. But there has to be that time. Yes, because of the Western world. The husband is working in the morning, the wife is working at night. Sometimes we've seen families that husbands are going out and the wife is coming, they're exchanging the children on the road. Mm-hmm. Yes, but then you don't work 7 days in a week. That one day that you are at home, let it count. Yeah. That one day that you are in the house with your partner, please let it count. Because if you don't service the other room, every other room will suffer.
True that.
Every other room will suffer. In fact, the type of food you will get to eat is based on your performance in the other room. If they give you 2 meats, you are trying. If they give you 3, you have done well. If they give you just 1, it is finished. So.
Okay, so thank you for that answer. And as always, I love to go deeper. So I'm going to ask even something more steamier.
Please because pray for me.
Said, don't worry, the Lord is
please pray for me.
I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. You said that make the time count, however little time you have. And also, you also said the man is coming back from work, the woman is coming back from work. So there's a place of being tired.
Yes.
And so that leads me to this question now. Sometimes it might be that the man is tired, oh, I don't have the energy for that this night, blah, blah, blah. What is the role? Or do you think that using things like toys and role playing in the other room is something that couples should indulge in to help their sex life?
First and foremost, me, I do not encourage toys. It's a no for me. But of course, the role play, of course, why? If that is what cuts it for your partner. And that's why I said you need to understand who you are marrying. Who did you marry? Is it somebody who has or is used to that life?
Right.
And now you're now saying, well, this is my own style. So this one has to end for this one to start. It depends on who you. I believe so much in satisfaction on both sides. But at the same time, I don't believe that until you use toy, until you tumble and somersaults. I just believe that we should learn to, let me rephrase. I would say we should learn to know when we are satisfying the other person.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might be involved in all of those gymnastics and the person is not feeling anything. Sometimes you even have not done anything and they are already done.
Yeah.
So just meeting up in that middle is what matters. Moi, I can't kill myself. God is my helper.
Okay.